Firstly, thank you, Joe, so much for joining us today. So really, this is just a video series on the faces of fintech. And what we will be doing is we're interviewing the tastemakers and the innovators behind the UK's most groundbreaking digital solutions. So really, I just can't wait to hear more about your journey and learn more about your mission to help businesses around the world achieve their goals. So to kick things off, I'd love to hear who you are, what do you do, and why do you do it?
Well, firstly, thank you for inviting me and calling me a tastemaker. I don't think I've ever been called that before, so I appreciate that. So my name's Joe. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Reducer, and what we do is we help businesses save money, and we do that in quite an innovative and new way. So we partner with accountants and we use accounting data to find savings for people. What that that might mean nothing to you, right? So what that practically means for you, if you're a business owner, is that we would work with someone like Raffinger's. We'd look through, or our systems would look through your spend and identify areas that you're overpaying. We'd then prepare that in a report that says, look, here's what you're currently paying, here's what your options are, and then help you if you want to switch those suppliers to the new ones. So I like to think of it as price comparison, but on steroids, because you don't have to input any information. Someone else does all that work for you because the information's already in your accounting system. That's what we're here to do. We started up a couple of years ago, won a few kind of awards in the last year or so, including Xero's Emerging App Partner of the Year, grown from, you know, a handful of clients and customers to thousands, billions of pounds worth of spend data now on our system that really helps us to get the best deal and get the best prices for our customers.
Cool. So I read originally that you came from an accounting background. Is that correct?
Yes. So I did a couple of years as an auditor in practice, 3 years, and then I went on and was the financial controller at a company called Gusto. So Gusto is the kind of recipe box company. Yeah, people who don't know it. Yeah. So I joined there as 12th employee. So when we were still kind of packing boxes in the office, that sort of thing, and helped it grow, raised some rounds of investment with that company. Then I went and became finance director at a company called CarWow, who do online new car buying. So again, a reverse auction. It's a reverse auction to help people get the best prices for their cars, spot the similarities with what we're doing now. Again, joined that at an early stage, sort of 30 people or so, and then helped it grow across a couple of countries and to a couple of hundred people in the UK. So that's kind of my background's always been, I'm an ICAW qualified accountant, but my experience has mainly been in using that to help fast growth technology businesses to grow.
So did working in like an accounting background as such and in such a fast growing environment, did that give you the idea and motivation behind Reducer, or was it something completely different that triggered the idea?
Yeah, I guess it was a variety of things. One was the understanding of Xero and the kind of data that was now being kept on the cloud, and the different ways that accounting and finance professionals are using that data in big companies. So if you have a big company, you have a procurement department who spends not years, but so Gusto, by the end, we had sort of 4 or 5 people who were working on getting the best prices from suppliers, getting the best chicken from suppliers, all that sort of thing. You had a whole team doing that. Small businesses, we realized very quickly, don't have that capacity. There's usually 1 or 2 people running the business doing hundreds of different things, but the data and the information's there. So the kind of reason we started Reducer is we saw the opportunity of putting those two together, using that accounting data that was now available to help businesses make better buying decisions.
So based on those decisions, off the top of your head, is there anything that you do remember, like a story where, you know, a business has come to you and said, right, you know, this is my portfolio, this is what I use, these are my suppliers, etc. Can you help me save? Is there any stories you can remember where you've turned around and you said, yes, I can save you 20 grand's worth?
Yeah, there are hundreds, literally hundreds. But I guess the one of the early ones are always the best ones, and I think this one's particularly pertinent because of often you think about money in monetary terms, but you think about what does that actually mean for a business, and what differences does it make to the business. One of our early customers, we saved them. So it was a friend of a friend who just signed up out of politeness, really. And just like, yeah, we'll give it a go. We saw they were out of contract on one of their major suppliers. We helped them switch across 3 or 4 different suppliers: the electricity, the gas, the water, the telecoms, saved them about £45,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Fast forward 2 or 3 years later, and obviously the pandemic happens, and they were finding it pretty tough because of the business they were in, which was shared workspace business. And I got a call from the guy, and he was like, you know how much money we've got left in the bank? Exactly £90,000, which is exactly what you've saved us over the last 2 years. If we hadn't worked with you guys, we'd be shutting the business. Luckily, we've got like 4 or 5 months more runway.
Yeah.
And then luckily things kind of turned around for them. So I think it's easy as an accountant anyway to think about numbers, but there's always a story behind the numbers. And I like to think about what people do with that extra money that we give them, because quite often, businesses are owner managed business. So, they're clients who've been able to take their kids to like Disney World in America, or less so recently, who've booked to go to Disney World in America because, we've given them an extra 5-10 grand in their pocket at the end of the year. So small business, medium business, large business, it makes a massive difference, that saving you can make people. And it's also, I guess this is the frustrating thing as someone seeing all of this, and I'm sure you see the same, Emma, that you have all of these people buying all of these things and just not thinking about it, or just thinking, oh, I'm on an okay deal, or it's just not worth taking the time and effort to compare. I guess the great thing about, blowing my own trumpet a little bit, the great thing about what we do is, 1, it's free, 2, it takes like 30 seconds. So, even if you can't be bothered to do all of those things, you can sign up, you can check that you are getting a good deal. And if you're not, we can help you save money. So I don't know where I was going with that rambling thought, but I think I was just concluding how good the service is.
Well, I was going to second that, because obviously we at Raffingers, we're partnered with Producer. So obviously, like you said, with the initial onboarding and it being free, etc. I mean, having that service and being able to offer that to our clients has been a huge help, because we've now literally obviously connected all of our clients up with their permission, ran all of their savings reports. And I mean, just off the top of my head, I know we've got a client where they're saving, I think, 10 grand per year. So even that can make a huge change to the business and improve cash flow. And it's just simple things like changing your electricity provider, changing who you use for your telecom service. So like you said, service has been impeccable. And I just have to second you on that.
That's good to hear. The one as well we haven't mentioned that often gets overlooked because it's really complicated is the card payments as well, whether that's online or in person. So that's really, like, it took me not 6 months, but it took me a long time to get my head around all the different charges, all the different ways it's set up, all the different ways that suppliers will make money out of you. But the upshot of it is that like 90% of people where they're spending over like 10, 20, 30 quid a month on their payments can save a significant amount, because no one bothers checking it because it's too complicated, it takes too long, and it's too confusing. So, if we can do that for you, then that's great.
No, definitely, I agree. I mean, I know obviously a lot of startup businesses, for example, when they are starting up, they go with the first provider that they find where they think they've got a good rate. They might use them already for their bank account. And, like, for example, Barclays is just one that I'm thinking off the top of my head, but obviously there are so many other providers out there which do offer these card services where you can save a fortune. So even like you just said, even just looking at who you could switch to for your card providers, that helps massively, I think, for startups especially.
Exactly. And for startups, it's often attractive to go for the the payment providers who have the good looking kind of terminals, but that the prices are you're paying about double what you would with a traditional kind of more bulky terminal. So there is a fee that comes, or a cost that comes alongside those terminals. And as you say, people, if you just go straight to your bank, maybe you might get a good deal in the first year, but what will happen is your prices will just rise after the second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, because they know people don't look at it, and that's how they make their money.
No, definitely. I just want to say, secondly, following on from that again, congratulations to Reducer for winning the 2021 Xero Award.
Thank you very much.
That must have felt absolutely amazing. How did that feel when you found out?
So I was live on the video stream, dressed in my tux in my living room because it was still locked down. It was really sad that we couldn't have an event and be there and share that moment with other people, not even the rest of the team, because it was full lockdown at the time. It felt great, and it just like crowned off a really good year for us. So we've managed to save, like, I think in the year we saved over £1 million for our customers, which is like that's huge for us. And obviously it's great getting the awards on top, but we're in it for you love an award, don't you? But we're obviously in it to help businesses make better decisions, and that's the kind of North Star metric that we go for. Like, the more money we can save businesses, the better.
Well, I hope you had your drink in your hand and were celebrating as soon as you found out.
I was a little, shall we say, squiffy? Is that an acceptable word?
Yeah.
I don't like the word, but I didn't want to use them.
Don't know that word. No, brilliant.
I got a bit carried away.
No, that's wonderful. I mean, all of that hard work, it's nice for it to obviously be noticed and pay off. And, especially a company like Xero, who are so huge, notice like what it is you have been doing for businesses and all the hard work you've put in. So no, that's amazing. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And all the hard work was all my team and not me. I just take the
No, that's fine. So how many people at the moment are there using the Reducer platform, just off the top of your head?
In terms of businesses, since we've started, we're on over 10,000 now. So, and that means probably over about 100 different accountants, all in the UK, using the service. So
have you seen like a rise in the businesses who have started using Reducer since the pandemic and the energy crisis on top of that as well?
I think so. I guess that I'll take those in two turns. So the pandemic, at the very start of it, we saw a massive drop off in terms of the businesses using us. I think at that time, as a business owner myself, what myself and I'm sure everyone else was doing was working out how we get through this. So, do I need more funding? What's my cash flow look like? All the questions I'm sure that your at Raffingers were answering very expertly for them. The number one thing they were worried about was keeping the business going and keeping the lights on. I think after that first initial kind of 2-3 months, then people started coming to us and saying, look, I've got this plan in place. We don't know when things are going to be reopened. I want to look at my costs, because it's the only thing you can do. If you can't grow revenue, you've got to look at your cost base. So we saw an uptick after that. And similarly with the energy market, what we saw, or the energy crisis that we're seeing at the moment, is that we saw prices rising from about July this year. And that put a lot of people off taking new deals, because the prices were a lot higher than they've seen in the last kind of 2-3 months or so. So they were seeing higher prices. They were sitting back and being like, well, this must be transitory. It's going to take a while. Then when you started seeing prices rising even more, suppliers going out of business, then we started seeing a big uptick in people reaching out to us and wanting help, especially where they've got where they have clients with either Bulb or AM Power or CNG, who are big business gas electricity suppliers. And those suppliers went out of business. With those suppliers, you're being moved to a new supplier. You don't have the consumer protections that consumers have in terms of price cap. So we're seeing people move from, paying sort of 4 or 5 times as much sometimes as they're moving from one of those suppliers into the government appointed suppliers. So there's a huge amount people can do to mitigate that risk. And yeah, we're helping accountants and their clients with that.
Amazing. So in regards to other platforms out there that might offer a similar service, what is it that Reducer do that no other platform does?
So I guess our unique selling point is that we pull all the data from accounting systems. So every other business intermediary or comparison site, what you have to do is you have to go on there, you have to find your bill from your file or ask your accountant for it. You have to type in the information, and then they'll give you your pricing back. With us, you don't have to do any of that. So your accountant will connect you up, and then we will get all that information directly from your cloud accounting system. So the barrier to you signing up is a lot less. You don't have to find any information. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is say, yes, Emma, I'd like my bills put through Reducer, and then we'll do it for you. And then once we've done that, what we won't do is share any of your details with any third parties. So until you want to switch supplier, we're not going to send your information off to any of our suppliers. We have the pricing for them, and then based on postcode usage, that sort of stuff, and then we'll cross match it with your data, tell you where you can save money, and then if you want to switch, we help you with that as well.
So it's modern, it's digital, it's automated, and it's easy, in 4 simple words.
I mean, you said it better than I could, to be honest. Yeah.
What is your biggest success? Is there something that resonates with you in particular?
Well, as a person or as a business?
You can say either or.
I think as a let's go as a person. Yeah. I think I learned to swim like 4 or 5 years ago, and I'd always loved the water, but had never been able to do it, and I really struggled with it. I kept coming back from my lessons, being like, I want to give up. So like 9 months later, maybe I got to the point where I could swim a length, and then soon I was at like 200 meters, 500 meters, and I think for me that was probably the most challenging thing I've done, because I'd always told myself that was something I couldn't do. And I think once I showed myself I could do that, then everything else became a bit easier, because it's like, well, if you learn to swim, then you can do all of these other things. So that's probably the biggest kind of, it doesn't sound like a big achievement, does it? But for me, that was a big achievement, because it was over my own personal kind of gremlins, let's say.
Exactly. I mean, it shows that if you can learn to swim and do that, you can literally do anything, especially in like the business world as well. But is there anything besides, like, in regards to the business, what is your biggest success in regards to that too?
I think it comes back to just having an idea and seeing it play out and seeing it benefit so many businesses. I think it's very difficult to put into words what that means. I guess it's like, you come up with this idea one day when you're walking, you call someone up, say, look, is this possible? Can we build it? You get some investors on board who are on board with the mission, and then you push this product out and then wait for that feedback and see if people actually enjoy it and actually like get value for it, and you can actually save people money. And I guess that point where we realize that they can, and that this is something that is going to change I wouldn't say the lives of, like, it would change the finances of a lot of businesses. That, I guess, is the real kind of success moment. And from there, it's just been building on that and seeing how many businesses we can help.
So during that journey, was there anything that resonates with you where you thought, oh no, this is going to be a bit of a struggle, or oh no, what am I going to do? Is there anything in particular? I mean, I can imagine there must be, obviously, when starting a brand new digital app from the bottom.
I think there are always times in a business, like in any business's life, where you're like, what have I done? Why am I spending my time doing this? Like, this is a terrible idea. I think you know, when we first set the business up, we went straight to SMEs. So we built the system just so you could only put one customer on at a time, and then we soon realized that wasn't working, and that trying to go out and walk around shops and get customers to sign up to something when they didn't even know what Xero was and might not use it didn't really work at all. And there were a few times then that we wanted to throw in the towel. I think, yeah, that's probably the worst part.
No, I'm sure it happens in literally every new business, especially when you're developing something too. I mean, it must be hard, obviously, because you're literally building something from scratch and obviously trying to get it out there. But if you did have one piece of tech related advice for UK startups and SMEs to get them to the next level, what would it be?
One piece, I guess, from our perspective, is make sure, it's so boring though, isn't it? No. Like it's going to be get the most out of your accounting system or the data in your accounting system. So I think a lot of people can see their accountants or their accounting system as kind of like a black hole that you just throw invoices and spend and all of that stuff into it, and you don't actually get any value out of it. But there's huge amounts of value you can get from the information to run your business in a better way. And I'm not just talking about obviously what we do. I'm talking about things like, you know, how do you forecast your cash flow to make sure you've got enough money for this, that, and the other? How do you look at who's paying you and making sure they're paying you on time, so you've got enough cash? Like who your good customers, who your bad customers, are you selling at the right price? All of those kind of questions you can get answers to if you've got the right data in your accounting system. So yeah, make sure you get the right accountant to help you on that journey, and make sure you get the right information in your system, and then you'll be amazed at what you can do with those two together.
So for business owners who are watching right now and have not yet checked the competitive market and, you know, need a little bit of reassurance to move over purely because they've been with their provider for so many years or just don't have the time, what would you say to them to reassure them that Reducer is definitely the right move for them?
So what I'd say is, firstly, there's literally no downside to using us. Your accountant, if you're working with Raffingers, will put you on and connect you to Reducer as long as you just say yes to them. So all you have to do is say yes. They'll sync your data. We'll find if you are overpaying anywhere, and then you make the decision. Like, we're not going to push you to take a new supplier you don't want to. We're not going to tell you that we can save you money when we can't. What we'll do is we'll create this report that says, here are the areas we've looked at. Here are the areas that you're paying a good price and you can't actually get any better on. But here are the areas we found suppliers who were willing to offer a better price than you're currently getting. Do you want to take it? And then it's completely up to you if you want to. So you can get all of that done for you for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds work on your behalf. So, you know, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. No, I agree. So what is next for Reducer? Is there anything on the agenda that's exciting? Any new releases? Anything you can share?
Yeah, we're working on a couple of things at the moment, and that's just expanding the number of areas that we work in. So we currently cover about 7 different spend areas. So electricity, gas, water, card payments, telecoms, mobiles, waste and recycling. There's probably that is 7, but there's probably one more. We've been looking at fuel cards, but we're also looking to add in direct spend areas and cash back on direct spend areas. So we want to start using the thousands and thousands of business we've got to negotiate better prices with large suppliers on the stuff you buy day to day, rather than the stuff that you get kind of your services that you get comparisons for. So, say you're a school and you're buying your food from one of the large food wholesalers. We check through your prices, make sure you're getting decent prices, maybe negotiate you better prices with your current supplier, or maybe look at what other large food national food wholesalers would supply you for. So that's the kind of area we want to go into.
Very exciting. So just on that point, sorry, just to touch base on that, in regards to the negotiating, is that a service that Reducer already offer or will be offering? So if, for example, somebody was to come your way and say, we're with this provider, is there any way you can get me a better deal with them? Is that something Reducer do?
It's not currently, but if loads of people want it, then we're happy to add it. I know their business is doing it. What we're more likely to do is do group negotiations. So where we've got 100 people, 100 businesses that work with a certain supplier, we might go to them and say, look, do you want to form part of a group that we will negotiate for that group with the supplier?
Perfect. I mean, all very exciting, and I can't wait to see what it is. But other than that, Joe, that is everything from me.
Lovely. Well, yeah, thanks very much for having me.
No, thank you. You were absolutely great. So thank you so much for your time. If you like this episode, go and have a listen to the rest of the series. We are Raffingers, and you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Raffingers. Alternatively, you can visit our website at raffingers.co.uk. I've been your host, Emma Cohen, and this is Faces of Fintech.